Shalom, Kohaloyam, Mawala, Yalbashim Yavshai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honors are definitely due unto the venerable apostles of the great millstone and the elders and bishops who do rule well. Salutations, peace and blessings to the Most High Powers elect, the after without the house of David. I'm Shamar with the Men of Valor, South Carolina Camp, coming back with another prophecy in short. All right, going into this drought that's taking place out in the western part of Babylon the Great, right out there in the western states. Okay, the land is drying up, man, and it's basically it's going to impact millions and millions and millions of people in the near term, and in the long run, it's going to impact all of Babylon. Okay, because ultimately, in this video, I'll let this video play. If these cattle ranchers can't feed their cattle, okay, and they can't get hay, because other ranchers are having the same issues, and that's driving up the cost of hay, then eventually you're going to see the effects of that in the grocery stores, man. All right. And basically what you're getting ready to see here in Babylon, all right, aka America, is a fight for resources, man, where you're going to have friends fighting like enemies. And that's what it says in the scriptures. And the scripture that came to mind, when I was checking out this article, was Second Esdras. See if I still have it up. Yeah, Second Esdras chapter 6 and verse 24, and I'll read this real quick, and then I'll play the video, and then get a couple precepts. Lord willing, you'll be edified through the Spirit. These are the beginning of sorrows, man. Heading into Jacob's trouble. A lack of resources, a lack of water. You're gonna see widespread power outages. You're gonna have grid down scenarios. You're gonna have a battle, a fight for food. Okay. Perilous times, man. We in the days of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh's visitation, man, the days of his judgment. All right, and he's coming against, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man here in America, the Edomites. All right, ultimately, the top brass of Esau, the chief tribe, the Amalekites, the Jewish national bankers, but he's coming after Esau, and he's coming after 2/3 of you tribes, man. All right, 2/3 of his own people he's coming after. All right, 2/3 of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and Israelite foreigners and speckled birds are going to be put to death out here, man. Trodden down, So yeah, it's high time to wake out of sleep. This is 2 Ezra 6 and verse 24. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies. He's talking about the days we're in right now, man. That's what the prophet Ezra is speaking of. He's speaking of these days that we're in right now, man. Friends are going to fight one against one another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. So you're going to have services being cut, man. No more water. Again, no more power. All right. And there's going to be, war out here because of it, man. Okay. There's going to be a fight for resources, man. Friends are going to fight one against another like enemies. Okay. It's getting ready to go down here in Babylon, man. All right. Matter of fact, let me get one more before I get to the video. This is 2 Ezra, the 15th chapter. And get right to the point. The 15th verse, it says, "For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. One people shall stand up and fight against another." That goes into your race wars, race riots, because they're going to be, race warfare out here, man. There's going to be race wars, class war, class warfare. All right. It says, but there's also going to be Egyptian versus Egyptian, because you're going to have, you're going to have those who want to make America great again, the Trumpers, clashing with the Antifa, okay, clashing with BLM, which those groups are proxies for Esau, Edom. All right, they're just being used, okay, to create, chaos. And out of that chaos, what do they bring? They bring order out of that chaos. Okay, order ab chaos. All right, that's one of their mantras. That's one of the elites' mantras. Order out of chaos. All right. So all kinds of hell is going to be breaking out here. All right. In the very near future, it says, "For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able," because Esau is going to declare martial law. All right. It says, "For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor." I mean, when you haven't eaten in a couple of days, you haven't had any water in a couple of days, okay, and your neighbor's sitting on some resources, sitting on some goods, food and whatnot, that relationship is going to go right out the window, man. All right. It's going to be every man for himself out here. It says, "A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods." Because of what? It says, because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. And again, it's going to be more than just a lack of bread. No water. Water is going to be a precious commodity. Food, obviously, And then when you factor in, a grid going down or rolling blackouts, and it's just going to make it that much worse, man. Great tribulation, man. All right. So let's go. Here, let's listen to this real quick. It's 3 minutes and 26 seconds. Let me see if I can play it without the ad popping up. No. Salakia, I have to let this ad go. All right, here we go.
Is used to dry conditions.
I can't control Mother Nature.
But the current dryness is more punishing than anything he's ever seen.
He said he can't control, Salakia, he said he can't control Mother Nature. Well, it's not Mother Nature doing this. It's Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Again, he's the one at the end of the day who causes it to rain. He's the one who can shut up the heavens and it not rain. All right, and he's the one that opens up the heavens so that it can rain. All right. Because again, at the end of the day, he controls the what takes place in this earth. Nothing goes down without his okay. All right, without his green light. Despite the weather modification technology that Esau has. So ain't no damn Mother Nature doing this, man. It's Yahweh Bashim Yahushai doing it. But these people are heathens, man. They don't know nothing about the Lord. They don't know nothing about the scriptures. They don't know nothing about the prophecies. Okay?
How long has it been since you've had any meaningful rain here?
In the last 15 months, combined, we're barely at 3 inches of precip in 15 months.
And what would you normally see?
Our annual for 12 months is 9 inches.
For generations, his family has raised cattle on the same 210,000 acres in northwestern Arizona.
So I either got to haul water, or I'll take him to town
and hey,
and feed.
For a second, how did his family get that land? She said for generations he's been out there on that land. How did they get that land? Did they not push off Gad and Issachar off that land, the so-called North American Indians and the so-called Mexicans, to get this land? So you got that, they got that land, through injury, man, and deceit, going into Sirach, the 10th chapter and the 8th verse. And that's why this is happening, man. This is what you call reaping what you sow, man. Because you own stolen land. And now the Lord's coming back for judgment. That's what's happening, man. But again, these heathen don't know nothing about that. You know, they don't know nothing about the judgment of the Lord. Because like I said earlier, they don't know the Lord.
Him for the next 3 months.
Atkin drove us out to the rugged, arid terrain of his ranch. With temperatures well above 100 degrees, there were just a few signs of life until some of his cows came into view. But just some, because there's not enough water out here to sustain them all.
I've relocated 80% already. I've sold some of them.
Atkin's water woes aren't his alone. Take a look at this U.S. Drought Monitor map. The darker the color, the worse the drought. Atkin's ranch lies deep within that crimson red.
We have about 200 reservoirs, and every one of them is dry right now.
Like dry?
Dry. Never.
Nothing?
We don't have a drop in any one of them, and we've never done that in 85 years. Never once.
Atkin's operation is in the Colorado River Basin, which is primarily fed by melting snowpack from the western Rocky Mountains. The river then winds down to the Gulf of California, supplying water to 7 states along the way. But the basin is now in its 22nd year of drought. This is clearly evident further downriver at the end of the Nevada-Arizona border, where the river flows into Lake Mead, the largest reservoir in the nation, which 25 million people depend on for water. Has it ever been this low before?
It hasn't, not since filling in 1937. So we are anticipating the lower basin to be in the first ever shortage condition in history.
In fact, Lake Mead is 143 feet below full capacity and has shed a mind-boggling 5.5 trillion gallons of water in the last 20 years. Those low water levels mean power generation at the Hoover Dam is down 25%.
No one can really tell with any certainty, but we can all hope that the future will be wetter.
For his part, Atkin is hoping for a wet monsoon season this summer to replenish his dry ponds and keep his cattle business afloat.
We could catch more water in 1 week than we've caught in 3 years.
But if not, he predicts the entire country will be impacted by this unprecedented western drought.
It's such a large area. I mean, it's almost half of the United States now. If this goes 1 more year, it'll have a huge effect on everyone.
And TJ explained to me that not all cows are created equal. The cows that he has, they've been genetically trained over the years to live in that really arid, dry terrain. And so therefore, he can't just sell all of his cows and get new cows. And when he says this, he's pointing out that all of this, a lot of our food that we eat, a lot of the agriculture will be impacted by this. And that means, John and Brianna, that we will all see that when we go to buy our groceries. He says that.
Yeah. So see, it's gonna, you heard it, man. This is gonna impact all of Babylon the Great eventually. Okay? This massive historic drought, man. It's a drought of biblical proportion. All right? And the Lord's done this in the past, man. You know, sent drought upon his people. You know, now, you know, he's sending it upon, upon the 2/3 and upon the heathen over here in Babylon the Great. All right, but you can read about that in Amos, the 4th chapter. Let me get another quick precept. In 2nd Esdras, 16th chapter. And this is 2nd Esdras, the 16th chapter, and the 22nd verse. It says, for many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them. For the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. The trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? Verse 26, the grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of men. So that one man, verse 27, shall desire to see another and to hear his voice. For of a city there shall be 10 left, and 2 of the field, which shall hide themselves in the thick groves and in the clefts of the rocks. As in an orchard of olives, upon every tree there are left 3 or 4 olives. Or as when a vineyard is gathered, there are left some clusters of them that diligently seek through the vineyard. Even so, in those days, there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword. And the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travel there through. All right, so basically, man, America's being dried up, man. All right, the land is drying up, the crops are failing. All right, the water is evaporating. There's no rain. All right, and this is going to lead, you know, to that famine of bread, man, and that great tribulation. That's what's coming. So, once again, you know, it's time for you, the Lord's people, all right, to hear the voice of the Lord through his servants, the prophets, and repent, man. All right. Cleave to these laws, statutes, and commandments. Come back to your power. Come back to your nationality and your heritage. And start calling upon Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right. I don't want to the Lord willing you were edified. With that, I want to say shalom.